Hey there, I'm Malorian, and this is Jank, and with me is...
Tinman XL in his Neon Genesis Evangelion t-shirt.
Nice. So yeah, this is the show where it's our second one. Hopefully we'll have everything figured out now. And it's just we're going to be talking about fun stuff with War Machine, probably some stuff that doesn't have to do with War Machine either, and just really having some fun. So Tin Man, what have you been up to in the last week here?
Well, a couple of guys from my old meta showed up to play with us last night. Mm-hmm. So pretty much they said they wouldn't be able to show up every week, but they'll show up every now and then. So that's going forward. Good friend of mine who's been in my Steam Power TV videos going back since before Steam Power TV may end up working for Privateer Press here.
Ooh.
So he can't give any details on that. He put me down as a reference, so maybe I'll hear from them and I can say good things about him. He is going to actually got an interview lined up with them. So best of luck to him. Y'all know who it is. You probably know who I'm talking about.
Can you tell us what position it's for?
Well, I don't want to put too much of my friend's business out there. I just, want to kind of put a good luck, get good vibes out there for him. But he basically the main opponent I've had in most of my videos.
Okay.
Y'all know him. I'll give you
during those games. What were you playing in those games?
Well, like I said, he's the main guy. I've been playing in Steam Power TV going all the way back. So I'll give you a hint. He plays Protectorate in a lot of those videos. Some of them he played Scorn. And, of course, I mainly played Signarch against him or occasional Circle because that's all we had. You don't know who I'm talking about, do you?
No. I've been mainly watching your Dice Rage lives. So if he wasn't in there, then I didn't catch him, unfortunately.
All right, well, this is Tom from the Battle Reports.
Okay.
The skinny blonde guy I'm always playing against?
I never really noticed the opponents in those, so.
All right.
I'm one of those greedy people that's just looking at the models and like, oh, okay, that's the list. Some person's running it on the other side, I'm sure.
All right, well, yeah, just want to put some good luck out there for him.
Absolutely.
And hopefully the interview goes well.
Mm-hmm.
And played a little bit, played with Dynamo for the first time, and then...
How'd he do?
Well, Dynamo didn't do nothing but run because it was a team game.
Mm-hmm.
And on the second turn, the other opponent did the feet set go with Raven and took Nemo out and had old man Nemo up there.
Yep, that's it for Nemo.
So literally, Nemo was taken out. My two Jacks go inert, and my Jack Marshals weren't even close to the two Jacks to try to revive them. Although character Jacks cannot be marshaled, so you can get them on and make them autonomous. You just can't marshal them.
So not a really good first game for Dynamo, but
right.
We'll go up from here.
Yeah, it's just like, dang it, he got taken out before I could do anything with him. Or try out his trick to see if it was overrated or whatnot. I'll try it again.
It's the same thing for my buddy. When he first put together Dynamo and he was super excited to use them, first thing I do is just thunder strike him back into some water and put out his furnace. It seems like Dynamo has some bad luck. I don't know. But you'll like him. Next game, I'm sure he'll do better. But you were saying what else happened in the game?
Basically, it was me. I had some Storm Blades left that I could barely do anything with.
Mm-hmm.
I did manage to get a charge off where the charges were just completely ineffective. Yeah, so it was one game, though. It was just nice to play with some guys that we hadn't seen in a while.
That's good. And what are you drinking tonight?
I've got bottled water.
All right.
I've also got Dasani sparkling water.
All right.
Yeah.
All the water, all the hydration.
Yeah, I just been dehydrated. And then I was also dozing off in the middle of the day. So I decided having some coffee, and I was like, what was I doing? Like, coffee makes you more dehydrated. So bad idea would be to have something alcoholic on top of that.
That's fair enough.
So no hey Ron for me tonight.
For my part, I'm drinking some Pepsi and some cinnamon schnapps, so that's what I'm going to be going at here.
That sounds good.
And this last week has been pretty intense for just War Machine stuff. After we finished our last Jank tank, I tried doing the thing where I tried editing and adding on like the intro and the outro. And the biggest problem I had was trying to pull off our video to re-edit it. And I had done it before with some other programs, but it just wasn't working. And so here it was like midnight. I had GarageCon the next day. I still had to pack. I was getting desperate to find something that works. And eventually I find this one program that downloads the video as an exe file. And I knew right there, like, oh, this is going to be bad. But I was so desperate I did it. And now my computer has some nasty, nasty virus.
You should have talked to me about that.
Yeah?
YouTube, if you go into I believe it's one of the settings you go into in YouTube, it'll bring up a list of all the things you've uploaded.
Yeah.
You actually have the option to save it as an MP4.
Yeah, after I did all this mess and infected my computer, Teodark from Advanced Maneuvers was chatting with me. Like, you can just save your own videos, right? You just go to your video manager and it's one of the options.
Yep.
Like, oh, that would have been so much easier. But at least it's all worked out now. Then, of course, I went to GarageCon. So that was pretty intense. 3-day convention. First day was a team tournament and then just free gaming. Second day was last chance qualifier and then a scramble. And then final day was the Alberta Invitational and then another scramble. So game after game after game and so much fun. I mean, I guess down there, how many 3-day cons have you gone to? Probably quite a few down there, eh?
I went to Kingdom Con last year. The reason I'm not doing this from a hotel room right now is because I couldn't afford to go to Kingdom Con this year. My money wasn't right for it. Because last year it's like I went all out. Rental car to get down to San Diego, paying for the hotel because I wanted a hotel room all to myself. I didn't want to have to share it with somebody who snores a lot. I had to put up with their snoring, or they got to put up with my snoring or whatnot. I think the last time I went to a con and shared a room, the situation I was in is that there was a dude that traveled with us who had sleep apnea, was supposed to have a machine to help him sleep, and he forgot it, and basically, I'll put it this way: I used to be a commercial truck driver for a short time. I had an easier time sleeping because California has some really rough roads.
Yep. Especially
when you get further north and you get to like Sacramento. I had an easier time sleeping in Sacramento through Sacramento than next to this kid. And Sacramento roads is literally like I was being flopped around like a pancake.
Yeah, I'm not sure what snore is going on because I'm one of those guys where I hit the bed and I'm out. I mean, fair enough. This is like 3 and 4 in the morning, but yeah, I don't remember any of that stuff. But at the con, I got to meet some people. I mean, the people from Immunity Cold were there. Those from Arcane Assist were there. So those two podcasts. I got to meet Tom Guan. Actually, I got to be taunted by Tom Guan. I played a game that was Kane 1 versus Terminus, and I was just destroying him. Between the feet and all the 5 units of gun mages, I was just shooting off all the cricks, and then I was just basically playing it around until it finished. And then Terminus magic assassinates Kane. I just never thought Terminus would do that. But that's how I actually got to really talk to Tom Guan, is that he came over to the table after, like, really? You got magic assassinated by Terminus? So it wasn't in the best of situations, but I got to meet him, so that's good. So you got anything coming up there then, Tin Man?
Not really. I was actually bringing up War Room to have a look at Terminus, because usually whenever I've died to Terminus, it's Terminus beating me to death with that big sword of his.
Yeah. I thought if I stay out of melee, I'm totally safe. But turns out if he can hit you with that spell, I didn't have blower up. So at focus 6, he's hitting me on 11s, hit me with both of those. It was after feat, so he had 3 souls on him from that. But yeah, 2 boosts the hits, and then the damage was enough to kill me. So there you go. Kane dies to Terminus by magic assassination, because why not?
You cast Hellfire on you?
I guess so. It's the one that costs 3 or whatever. So
yeah, because there's Hellfire and then there's Annihilation.
Yeah, so just did not see that coming. But yeah, really good to see. Jeff Everett was also there from BC, British Columbia, and he had this amazing Signar army. If you haven't seen that in my videos, you might want to check that one out. But it's a Signar army that's converted to look like a Krix army. So the storm walls are converted to not have legs, but they have like these big, like flowing robes. And he has
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's just all the models are converted right down to all the solos, and then they're painted amazingly. It was, I'm not much of like a criminal, but that's an army I could steal that. That's like, wow, look that way, Jeff. Thanks for the, man, that's an awesome army. So, yeah, really good.
I saw some pictures of the storm walls.
Hmm?
Yeah, and I think there was a guy in the SoCal area years ago, back in the Mark I days, who had basically a heavy metal protector army.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So a lot of the stuff looked undead for that army, but it was heavy metal themed. Think, brutal legend, kind of heavy metal lore kind of thing. Like classic heavy metal album covers. That's what he was going for.
Okay, nice. See, I think I might have the converting skills to get somewhat close, but still, it's nowhere near to what that was. And then as well, I just don't have the painting, right? So it'd be like a choppy, crappy conversion, and then with a crappy paint job on top, right? I'm better off just leaving it the way it came in the box. But moving on to our next part here for the Jank or Junk, or whatever we're going to end up calling this, I actually have the list this week. And I actually had a couple of lists I want to run by you, but I settled with this one because it has an archangel in it. And I know a lot of people don't like the archangel, but this is a list that's actually so far undefeated. So here's the list. It's Thagrosh 2, 10 Shredders, because it's Thagrosh 2, Archangel, like I said, Carnivian, and then 2 Shepherds. And so the way that this jank works is that you slowly move up. You have the archangel that's doing its ride-by attacks. So go up, shoot a bit, go back, try and draw them in. And then once they come in, that's where you pop feet. Those shredders go in, jam things up, kill all the infantry. And really, while the opponent is trying to deal with all the shredders, the archangel's flying in and starting to pick off the heavies and kill those off. And then between Spiny Growth and the demonic armor spell that Thagrosh has, you have +4 armor on the archangel, plus you have the 2 shepherds healing it. I mean, after a little bit of that, and by the time that they've killed all the shredders, you've probably killed off 2 heavies. They just can't deal with the archangel anymore. And then the final part of how the list works too is that Thagrosh normally can't hide because he's a large base, but with the archangel, that's perfect, where Thagrosh can hide behind. And you can also do a thing where like Thagrosh charges something, destroys it, and then the archangel charges over it and then protects Thagrosh that way. So I know, kind of a really kind of crazy list, but what do you think about the list there, Tin Man?
That sounds like something a friend of mine ran. Of course, he favored Vale.
Okay.
With that, his nickname in the meta at the time was Master Shredder because he owned so many shredders.
So that Vale 1 or Vale 2?
Vale 2 hadn't came out yet.
Okay. And he still ran like Shredder spam with Vale, eh?
Yeah, he did. And this was back before it was cool.
It
was actually back in the Mark I days where her feet was really broken.
Oh, okay.
Like
we have a message. We have a message here from our buddy Lee from Bleeped Up Podcast saying, "Hey guys, I'm up late watching the NHL playoffs, aka ice hockey. I know what hockey is, NHL, and watching your show too. Just want to ask you both a question. Seeing as that how you both play Signar, I wanted to hear your thoughts on the new Haley model / Battle Group Warcaster, because those models look sick. Hope you're both well, and good to see you both working together on a new and fun series. Peace, Lee. So what do you think about the new Haley 3? I guess we should have been talking about that too.
Looks awesome. I like the meme that got going with the future version of Haley. I came with a warning from the future. Those dice you bought are going to roll bad.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That's something.
Those models look so good. I mean, I don't know how the rules are going to be, but those models for quality of the sculpt are amazing.
I'm just trying to figure out how the focus is going to be distributed between the three.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that works out. I mean, I can't wait to see those, but I know there's a lot of people who don't even play Signar that want to buy her just because they love those models, and they might use the models for something else, or they want to use the younger Haley to be Haley 1 and one of the other Haleys to be Haley 2. I mean, they're just beautiful models. I mean, they just hit it out of the park with those.
Yeah, definitely. And basically, future Haley could work if you're playing like a sci-fi role-playing game.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really work on that.
I mean, man, Hey there, guys. This is now kind of take 2.
We'll do it live.
Yeah.
We'll do it live.
We're going to see if the last one saves or not. This is totally my fault, where I have this virus on my computer and it shut everything down. So we'll see if we can finish this part off here. But yeah, it'll be fixed for next week. But where we were at last time before we got lost here, I believe, who knows where the thing cut out, was the double question of 1, why aren't we seeing some jank for Constance? And 2, from Sean saying, can you be janky and competitive? So you were talking about how you run Constance with mercenaries, but going to the next stage of that question, how do you be janky and competitive?
Well, first of all, I'm not a competitive player. I'm a casual player. Competitive for me is either running a tournament as a press ganger, or if I go to a big tournament, I'm there to just meet new people and have fun. I do get competitive, but there's a difference between being competitive and getting competitive. Like sometimes it's like, hey, I might actually win this, or hey, I'm actually placed in this tournament. Then you're gonna find yourself getting more competitive. But I'm not this guy that goes to the privateer press forum to see what the winning tournament lists are, and then try to emulate the big name players. Because whenever I've tried that, that's never worked out for me. Because you can copy somebody's list, but you can't always copy the way someone thinks to run that list. I just play for fun. I play to make friends, and just let everything fall into place from there. But like I said, there's a difference between being competitive and getting competitive. Getting competitive just means like you may play to win, but winning isn't everything. I think a competitive player, to them, winning is everything, and opposed to enjoying all aspects of the game, collecting the models, putting them together, painting them, getting games in with them, having a laugh, cracking a few jokes during the game. You want to have your rules right, but you're not trying to use the rules to take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly. So like I said, I'm not the guy to go to if you want the winning list, because I the last tournament I participated in, I made my list at the last minute right there in the game store. As the press ganger there was like, kind of going, hey, we need everyone to turn in their lists. So it's literally, I show up in the game store with my army, I pay my entry fee, and then I sit down with the war room and I put 2 lists together real quick. And I played with them. I'm not the guy that makes a list and then revives it constantly. Very rarely have I done that.
Sure.
And I know I there's times I've kicked ideas for lists around and posted them, but I post something in a list discussion group like the Signar group on Facebook, or even in the privateer press forums. It's never. They don't like the people that respond. They don't like point out the weaknesses and strengths of the list with me to help. the response is ultimately, hey, why aren't you trying to make that one list that Joe Superstar is taken to the WTC, or Joe Superstar is taking the Gen Con.
Yeah, why aren't you taking the Jay Larson version, or why aren't you taking the Trevi the Great version? Something like this, right?
Yeah, right. And it's like, if I want to copy their lists, I'll just go look them up. One of the fun of War Machine, and when I promote the game as a press ganger, is that you can literally not. This is a game where it's not the same game twice, where you can literally build different synergies and try different things out with your friends, and not be playing with the same thing over and over again. If I wanted to play with the same thing over and over again, I'd have never stopped playing 40K.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be harsh there. I'm not trying to bash 40K, but when I played 40K and I had my Necron army, my 1850 was the same 1850. It was a very, very little variety. Granted, at the time, Necrons didn't have the variety that the newer Necrons have now. But still, except if I just want to play the same thing over and over again, I'd still be a 40K player. I would have never gotten into War Machine. I would have never dabbled with games like Malifaux or Relic Knights or Anima Tactics or Eldorado, which I looked into. I haven't bought anything for yet, but was definitely had an interest in. I like variety, and so when I make a list, sometimes I'll go, well, I think it'd be cool. Let me try this list with mostly light jacks and some support infantry, or hey, let me try this list with this type of infantry. Or sometimes I was like, I painted these models and haven't played with them in a couple of years. I'm going to give them some love and put them on the tabletop.
You really just throw things together and try things out is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then stuff that's a little more proven based on my personal experience, stuff I know I can run efficiently and not have to stop and think about what spells they have or what abilities they have. That's the stuff that tends to show up on my tournament list. The stuff that I don't have to second guess what they can do. And I could just move forward and play with them. Where I already know basically where I'm going to deploy them and how I'm going to have them arranged on the table.
So you let experience carry you then, pretty much.
Yeah. And that's good enough for me. That's in terms of local tournaments, that's our local type tournaments, whether it be in my hometown or me going to another town. That's done good for me. And then again, too, in terms of competitiveness, the funnest tournament I've ever played in, it was a tournament where I went 0-4. I lost every single game, but every single person I played against was cool. Right? So I enjoyed the company of my opponents. And it's like, okay, I lost that one, but this guy I played was really cool. I look forward to getting another game in with him maybe after the tournament or whatnot. There's another tournament I played in where I won. I took first place, but I was miserable at the end of the day just because I got nothing but attitude from everyone I played that day.
Oh, okay.
So I literally, I remember I played Signar in that tournament, and Jeremiah Cray was a new caster. And won my first game, won my second game. Jeremiah Cray was very aggressive, still is. And you can get your stuff across the field really quickly, and you can put your opponent on the ropes.
Well, I think that's part of it too, is that part of making Jank competitive is hitting them with something they don't really normally see, right?
Right.
They might feel that these other casters, King 2, Siege, Haley 2, they're the more power casters. But if you've never seen Cray before, and all of a sudden that Stormclad comes from downtown, you're in for a lot of trouble.
In fact, there's a battle report I did with Cray and a 25-point battle group where literally Stormclad charged across the field, took out Resnick, and my opponent Tom at the end of the video was just like, "Well, I played Mullet Karn, and I'm saying that's broken."
Yeah, I think for my part here to try to answer both questions is that when you're running a Jank list, to me, that's doing something where it's different. It has a different angle on the game. So maybe you are doing Cray with that big, huge, long charge, or maybe you're just picking out the strategy that is normally not used, and you're going to find that one little niche that Jank has and push it to 11. So, for example, if our Jank is going to be around, like we said right there, with the Shredder spam being able to allow the Archangel, you have to make sure you really push that, right? You have those Shredders in just the right time. The Archangel can't be far back. It already has to be in there. I mean, you have to have the idea of how your Jank works and then do it. And then for that to go in with Constance, I mean, the question would be is, what does Constance do that nobody else does? And maybe that can be is delivering the infantry a little bit faster because of how she has the spells to speed up her troops, but how she can be boosting them and doing the transference, and then also going for the armor, right? So all of a sudden, instead of doing a Jan that's based off of high defense or something like that, you have a Jan that has more to do with armor and speed. And then you have to find what works for that and really push it. So I will get the Constance eventually. I have the models for it already. Probably the biggest thing that I have not ready for is that since I know War Room, I don't actually have the tier list for it. I don't have the book for the tier. So I'm waiting for that new book to come out with all the tier lists. And once I have that in my hand, then I'll probably be starting to run her. Until then, I think Sloane's my next one. But the next one here should be a fun one for you because this question is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and I know where it's going from, but we'll see what your answer is this one here, Tin Man. It comes from my buddy Rich, and what he says is that, is it ethical in a tournament where it's a team tournament to basically lose a game on purpose in order to set yourself better up for a later game? So is it better off, or is it ethically sound to throw a team game so that you will be better off in a more serious tournaments later on in the event?
I mean, like strength of schedule wise, later down the same tournament.
So what he's coming from here is that at the GrotzCon that I went to, I had this whole challenge with Triumph, and where I had to, the only way I was going to beat this guy was going with a dude swarm. And so when I faced him in the team event, instead of running a dude swarm that might actually stand a chance, I ran Sturgis, which got destroyed by Bradigus, but at least I got to surprise him with the dude swarm later. So what Rich is asking is this ethical? You know, like, would you have a real problem with this if you're playing a team event and one of them did that?
Well, the only time I've ever threw a game in a tournament was that I was playing against someone with less experience, and I just wanted to give them a will to give them the game, help build up their self-esteem a little more with the game, or give them a shot at playing. Give them a shot at playing someone of higher caliber. I've done that a couple of times. One time I did it, and I would actually take it back because this friend went on to play a guy who turned out to be a complete jerk.
Oh, okay.
And this particular friend at the time was like 15 years old, and ended up having a grown man screaming and yelling at him, and that almost got really ugly. There was another instance where I did this for someone who it was a game/demo because they hadn't played very much. So I requested, to play him first. I said, hey, I just want to play this guy first and kind of demo it for him. I even told the tournament, I'm even going to let him win. I just want to get him situated. Well, the guy was a quick study. So he won. I shook his hand. He went on. Yeah, he ended up taking like third place in the tournament. So that was like a good experience connected to me doing that.
So next question comes from Daniel Medwin, which is also known as Mini Wargaming Dan or Codex Dan. And he's asking, when is Privateer Press going to nerf Triumph? Which is another tongue-in-cheek thing just from that GrotzCon challenge I had. But maybe we'll change this question and say, Tin Man, if you're going to change Triumph in a way that he'd be now taken but not broken, what would be your fix for Triumph?
My fix for Triumph? Well, let's see here. Wait, Triumph is broken?
Well, again, this question here is tongue in cheek because of how I had this challenge at GrotzCon to try and beat one of the best players in Canada with Triumph, which didn't happen, by the way. But yeah, he was asking when is Privateer Press going to fix him, and what would you do to make him playable? Well, he is playable, but to make him worth his points.
Make him worth his points. Let's see. Probably re-roll on the attack on his attacks. Put just straight put an AOE on the cannon.
Yeah.
Maybe bring back the demolition rule or something.
What was the demolition rule?
The demolition rule, because in Mark I War Machine, you could target structures and buildings that do damage to them.
Oh, okay.
So the demolition rule was that you could, for every point of structural damage you did, anything that went above armor was doubled. So it's a lot like let's see, what is it? The rule that it was like decapitation, but it was decapitation towards buildings. And Siege had it. His battle group had it. The Titan Cannoneer had it for Scorn. But this game, you don't really target structures anymore, but you do target objectives. So there's some way to work that in. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling here.
To me, the two simple things, because I don't want to be broken either. I mean, one of the things that I know some people said, like, give him an armor pierce shot, but that's kind of crazy. To me, if he just had like shield guard, sure, you have the shield, but you're not usually normally. Give him shield guard, so he's actually doing something with that shield. That would at least make it somewhat worthwhile.
It's good to keep next to Siege.
Definitely. Yeah, something like that. So he's doing something a little bit extra. Maybe he'll have girded as well. I mean, just something else where if he has to be back and using that big shield, give him a little something else to work in that defensive nature.
An imprint, an affinity, because he's just a special issue Jack. He doesn't do anything extra for being with Siege, but an inaffinity for Siege, where if you take him with Siege, then he does this extra thing. But I think he's pointed the way he's pointed just because there's a general rule that I've noticed that character Jacks are always 2 points higher than the Jack that they're based on. If that Jack is based on a chassis, and this is part of a wave of Jacks are based on an existing chassis, he's based on a defender, so he's 2 points more than the defender.
I mean, the only time I ever liked taking Triumph in the past, where I actually chose to take Triumph, is when I was doing my Darius all Jacks, and that's just like a theme personally, where I only wanted to take Jacks, and then I had no answer to Epic Iris. So, okay, Triumph is a good take, but that was the only time that it was like, oh yeah, take him as he is. But moving along, Kieran Trimby wants to point out the fact that in a game that I played against him, his Triumph actually killed Old Rowdy. So kind of showing who's the best character Jack there. Moving on, a post that we have on here from AriCast55 says, what about doing 19 points of damage to an enemy Colossal top of turn 1? I'm guessing this is my buddy Josh, and the jank that happened to him at GrotzCon is that he was up against Haley 2 with 2 hunters, and what she did is TK'd up one, temporal accelerated the other, and then his Stormwall got shot first turn before he did anything and lost 19 boxes. Have you ever done that build where you get to shoot first turn with your hunters?
I'm trying to work the math on that. Was one of those hunters bonded?
Possibly.
Because advanced deployment, that's 6 inches ahead.
Yeah.
And he went first. So if it was in a tournament, that means he had a 7-inch deployment zone. Now, if I remember correctly, but you got to use Haley's theme force for that.
They're probably on gun mages as well, so they have snipe as well.
All right, but gun mages can't put snipe on unless, of course, that hunter is being marshaled.
Exactly. You marshal it to the UA, and then all of a sudden they get the same rune shots as the gun mages. So you got these hunters that can shoot 18 inches.
Okay. So you can shoot 18 inches, and then advanced blades, so they're 6 inches. So they're essentially 13 inches deployed at 13 inches in.
Mm.
TK is gonna give you 2 inches. Temporal acceleration is gonna give you 2 inches on top of that. So that's a 10-inch move. So they could make it. They could actually fire into a deployment zone that way.
That's pretty crazy.
I'm just trying to figure out how both of them are doing it.
I don't know, but the main thing is like that's pretty crazy to walk into a game, not even roll any dice or move anything yet, and your storm wall is already half dead. I mean, that's a pretty big blow.
And he definitely rolled some big damage there because storm wall. That's like armor 18, isn't it?
19, so it's going to go down to 10. So it's dice -4 on 3 shots.
3 shots. So one shot. So yeah, with it being 3 shots and 19, yeah, that's about average roll. That's about average dice boosted there.
Yeah. But so that's that one there. Getting into some more serious stuff. There's the one that was posted on your post there with you're saying Lord 17C. That what about the situation where there's a Gator Bokur and a Sacre Vault? Now, do they both get their own parts because the Gator Bokur wants to get the corpse, the Vault wants to get the soul, and in this one here, the easy answer is yes. If they both wanted the soul or both wanted the corpse, it'd all be about who's closer. But if you need different parts, like the corpse and the soul, they can each take their own part, and that's a pretty nice synergy.
You could pull a soul token and a corpse token off the same model.
Absolutely, yep. So I don't know. Sacre Vault's kind of neat. It's growing on me. When I first heard about it, I was like, you're never gonna take it. A posse will always be better to be taken. But man, now that I've actually played against it, that thing's pretty damn resilient, and you have to throw a lot into it just to take it out. Have you had to face that yet?
No, I don't really see battle engines getting used in my meta. Unless it's a protectorate player using the altar.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we don't have very many viewers because of how this is the second take, and I don't have any other questions. Do you want to do your recommendations now?
Recommendations. Let's see here. I actually didn't put any thought into that this time. I'd recommended Glove and Boots last time because that shows that channel is just straight brilliant. But let's see here. Non-wargaming related, I'm actually addicted to a show called Watch Mojo. They do these top 10 lists. They do top 10 lists for freaking everything.
Yeah.
Think of it. They got a top 10 list.
Yeah, I've watched that. I mean, I watched it a lot for seeing the origin of characters, of Marvel characters. I watched those. I mean, like you say, they have top 10s for everything. So, I mean, whatever you're interested in, whether it's movies or actors or sports, they got it for everything. My one, if we're going to keep with the YouTube thing, is I'm going to say go check out LA Beast. He's normally doing like these food eating challenges, but the thing that has it kind of interesting this week is that he loves Crystal Pepsi. And what he'll do is actually go on eBay and get these old things of Crystal Pepsi that are like 20 years old or whatever it is, try and drink them. And of course, he just pukes his guts out. But what he's actually trying to do now is do a petition to bring back Crystal Pepsi. I mean, who could be the worst spokesman than a person who drinks your product and then throws up violently, right? I mean, like,
here's the thing: Crystal Pepsi, that's 20 years old.
Yeah,
it's actually still good. It doesn't make you vomit. He's actually acting because prior to him doing the Crystal Pepsi thing, there's a show host. He's mainly on Blip TV though, but his name is Brad Jones, the cinema snob. But he does things where he tries different, he tries different foods and he tries different soft drinks and whatnot. Well, he had a hashtag of bring back Crystal Pepsi on Twitter first. He actually did a response video where he took a Crystal Pepsi that he had gotten from eBay, and he sipped it down, and he said, "Look, I'm fine. I'm not puking. I'm not sick." And he says, "Do not besmirch the good name of Crystal Pepsi because 20 years old, and this stuff's still good."
Well, but he just had a few sips, right?
No, he'll drink the whole thing.
Oh, okay. And was his yellow? Because LA Beast, his turned yellow.
Right, this stuff has a slight yellow like old soda has. He says like the fizz is mainly gone, but the taste is there. But he actually had a hashtag campaign going on Twitter to bring back Crystal Pepsi that I even participated in myself while I was throwing that hashtag around. But yeah, the old soda doesn't really make you sick.
Okay. Well,
it's not a good idea to drink it, but it doesn't like just make you violently ill.
So LA Beast, if you're watching, Tin Man's calling you a liar. So you better come on here and refute this. No. We'll have to have like a Crystal Pepsi drinking challenge on the channel or something. But either way, we're not quite at the hour, but I think we should better cut it off before my virus kicks me out again. So
yeah, you might want to do what we used to do back in the day, was just grab Norton's White, wipe everything, and then make
freaking Norton. I don't even want Norton antivirus because that thing is like a virus. It keeps on coming back and doing pop-ups and like, oh, renew your subscription, flash, 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 or I gotta do a scan now, flash, flash, flash. I usually just try and be smart, and I wasn't smart. So now I'm suffering.
Well, that's one thing I like about having a Mac. No viruses.
Very true. But to our viewers, again, sorry for technical difficulties. We should have everything fixed up for next time. But otherwise, I'm Malorian, and
this is Tinman XL.
Catch you later. Bye.
Because Leo's watching tonight. Boobs!
Okay, bye.
Growing.